Good morning, good morning, good morning. I hope everyone is having an amazing Monday. Sorry, my morning started a little shaky. So today's message is going to be short because I got to continue to tend to Sir Jellybean. Hope everyone had a great weekend. It is Monday. It is another episode of Morning Inspiration with Friends, and I'm excited to have this conversation. This topic actually came up when I was speaking to my therapist on Thursday. Um, Conversations came up, and he was speaking about old systems, right? So she know I teach computer software. That's how I got started teaching adults, and I was teaching Microsoft Office. And one of the phrases she said was she was like, "There are still so many people that are operating from a Windows 7 operating system." So when you buy your computer, and we're talking about PCs, not Macs. Well, Macs also have operating systems. But when you buy your PC, people are purchasing. The most important thing is what is the operating system. And Windows 7 was a popular one. And so I had joked with her and I said, man, some people are not even operating at Windows 7. Some people are still operating at Windows XP. And the reason why I said XP was because XP was one of the most popular operating systems that Microsoft came out with. Um, even after they would upgrade, people were still sticking to XP. I know that I didn't stop using XP at work. I think one job that I had, I left there 2014. We were still using XP. I worked at a workforce program for women in 2016. They were still using XP. And I know that recently, I want to say within the last 8 years, Microsoft has discontinued support for Windows XP, which forced a lot of people to go into new operating systems. But Windows XP was one of the best operating systems, right? It worked. But if we was to get a computer today in 2025 that had Windows XP, is that computer going to be as effective? Is it going to do the things that we want it to do in 2025 if we had a computer that had Windows XP? No. So that's the same thing, right? So many people are still operating from an outdated mindset. You're operating from the mindset that did work, right? And again, a lot of the things and the theories that people are operating from are actually solutions that do work. But as time evolves, things are added, technology, for instance, AI, or for instance, and a lot of people are staying away from anything that is new and evolved. They're staying with the old methods or way of doing things. And this is where they're getting stuck. This is where they're blocking out the new information. They're blocking out the resources that can literally come in and change their life because they're still operating with the mindset and with the resources that they had previously. If that is you, then you have to make a decision. Yes, I need to move forward in my life. Absolutely. The things that I've been trying to do, the things that I have been doing, they're not yielding the results. So maybe I need to tap into some of these new resources and learn some new things so that I can evolve, so that I can take the information that I had from previously and I can apply it with the new information. And now I will have more resources to get me through this season and to get me through whatever problem that I'm facing. But so often we block out the new things. We block out the new people. We block out the new communities. We block out everything that's new because it's unfamiliar, because it's uncomfortable, because it's going to take you effort. That's really what it is. It's going to take you effort. So it's easier to stay in what you are familiar with. It's easier to stay in what you know. And although it does not work, although it's not yielding fast enough results, because it worked in 1990, in 2005, right, 20 years ago, you're still thinking what I did 20 years ago is still going to be so effective 20 years later. No, it's not. There's new things. There's new ways. I always think about how to make money. There's a lot of people right now who need to make more money. And there might be some physical limitations. There might be things that they're not capable of doing physically because of their circumstances. And so those people are sitting in this dark space And I pray for those people. But they're sitting in that dark space. And for them, they're blocking out anything that's new that's going to help them in their present situation, because all they know is what they did in the past. And everything that they did in the past required them to be physically capable of doing this. So here they are in 2025. And in their minds, they're saying, there's no way I can do this. There's no way I can move forward. I'm stuck, right? They're saying, they're creating these narratives. And no, it's not. It's just that you're relying on the information that worked for you when you were physically fit, when you were younger, when things were a lot easier and smooth sailing 20, 25 years ago. But here we are in 2025, where there are people who are literally just from their cell phones are making money. People are out here creating things in 5, 10, 15, okay, maybe 30 minutes, maybe an hour. And then they put it online and they're making money from a device like this or on their computer. But those people don't want to learn those new things. Because you know what? Learning something new means that I got to stretch myself. Learning something new means that I got to open up my eyes and start listening to people that I don't know. And they're talking about things that I don't know. And I don't know, I can't even trust them because they might be telling me a lie. But you know what? I would take a gamble on learning something new and seeing how somebody can help me in my present situation, especially when the Windows XP and the Windows 7 theories and the ways that we used to do things back then, they're not working today. You're going to eventually have to figure out how to bring those old habits and upgrade them, right? It's time to recognize when it's time to upgrade, right? So how do you start to initiate this upgrade? Basically, the only way that we have to initiate this upgrade is that we have to start doing some inner work, right? You have to start tapping into the system updates. You have to get to that point. The only way that you can see a change is if you start updating the system, which is your mindset. If your mindset is not being updated. So you got places like LinkedIn Learning. I tell all of my students, I tell my clients, if you've never had LinkedIn Learning, there's a free trial. And I think it's like 1 or 2 months. You might catch it. You might get a 3-month free trial version. But LinkedIn, the premium version, will allow you to take courses and certifications through LinkedIn Learning. If you've never had it before, you can log into LinkedIn. If you don't have a profile, hit me up. We can have a conversation. I'll give you a recording for a workshop that I did a couple of years ago on how to build an effective profile on LinkedIn. And then you log into that link and you start learning these new skills. You start learning the things, you start updating your skills that you have so that you can start to evolve, right? Some of it is you are just fighting this demon that is keeping you stuck in the 1990s or the early 2000s. And so you might have to start doing the fasting and the praying and talking to God to renew your mind, right? Romans 12:2. We got to renew our minds, right? We got to get away from the way that the world is telling us. And in this situation, you got to get out the way of the world that used to be, right? You're trying to do the things that you used to do. And you're trying to do those in the present day. And that's not going to work. Okay? Go into therapy, get you a life coach if you have the ability. So whatever it is that you have not evolved in and you are noticing, right? Because a lot of times we start to notice, especially when other people are doing things and you know that it is possible because you're seeing these people. You met them, you engage with them, you see them online. So you know that there are people outside right now making money online, but you just don't know how because you can't see yourself in that circumstance. You can't see yourself in that predicament. It doesn't make sense to you because how can I do this? But when you start getting around the people and they're going to show you how they did it, now you can start getting ideas. Again, this is the reason why I keep saying this. I share a lot of the things, the knowledge, the resources, the wisdom, the experiences that I've had because I want to help someone to get to the mindset of I can do this myself. I can absolutely do this. There's someone out there. I met her. We spoke. We was able to chat, chop it up. And she let me know what she did. So you know what? I know that it is still possible and I can do the same thing. You just got to level up. You got to level up that mindset, the way that you speak about yourself, the way that you speak over your life. You have to do that work. If not, you're going to stay in that past. And when you stay in the past, that is where you're going to continue to sit in your mess. I'll say it nicely today, because normally I don't say mess. I say something else. But I'll say mess. Right? So I just wanted to really have this conversation because, again, we have to give ourselves permission to release the version of ourselves that has been in survival mode, that have been in the living in the past mode, and give yourself the ability to step into a healed, empowered version of yourself. And so when you really start to think about this and start looking at it in every aspect of your life, and that's what we might do this week. This week we might look at this particular theory in every aspect: your career, your relationships, your health, right, your wealth, and then we'll be able to see it a little bit more. So as always, I do try to give you a prompt so that's something you can go back and you can reflect on. And here is the one that came up for me today. All right. So where in my life am I still using outdated thinking to navigate new territory? Where in my life am I still using outdated thinking to navigate my new territory? Your new life is somewhere, and right now you're still trying to do the outdated things. And I mean, the outdated things might work. We're not saying that they might not work, because they might work, but they might not work to the ability and the capacity that you think that they're going to work. They're not going to work that way. It might not be faster. You might spend more time. You might spend more resources. You might lose out on resources. You might get paid less resources. You might have no resources. And then you're trying to go into this new territory, trying to do new things, and you're just lost. So I think this is something that we really need to dive into. And I think I will do that this week. We'll dive deeper into this. So you guys have an amazing day today. I'm sorry that I started late, but as always, you can always connect with me. Go to the link tree; it's down in the description. You can connect with me about my books, my community, my courses, and my blog. And I hope that you will be back here tomorrow. I'll be here tomorrow at 7 a.m. I do apologize again, but I am your girl, Tanisha Shanae, Miss Inspiration. Hope you have an amazing day on purpose.